So in order to graph to negative 2x minus y, negative 2x minus y equals 6. And today is 24. Thank you. Nicole, did I give you this?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. Melissa, can you please? Are you okay? I'm so sorry. You're okay.
Okay.
Are you okay with Wednesday? Extended.
Oh, I'm done. I completed it.
Okay. Very good. So we're given this equation. What type of equation is it?
Is it linear?
Very good. Of course. How do I know? X has power 1. Y has power 1. No product of x and y. No x in the denominator, no y in the denominator. Of course. Good. I'm asked to find the x and y intercepts. How do I find the x-intercept?
Substitute 0 for y.
Yes. I covered it. Don't waste your time to solve for y. It's a waste of time. You don't need that. So when y is 0, how much is x? Do you all agree with negative 3?
Yeah.
And the ordered pair is? Very good. How do I determine the y-intercept?
Substitute 0 for x.
Right. It's the y-axis, which has the equation x equals 0. How much is y?
-6.
Negative 6. What is the ordered pair?
0, -6.
Very good. So that's all I need. I will plot negative 3 comma 0. And 0 comma negative 6. Connect and extend the line. Always write the name somewhere. Negative 2x minus y equals 6. And the coordinate system has x, the origin, and y. Very good. Let's graph the second one. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Okay, I have y plus 1 equals 7. What do I have to do first? Other than Corey. Anyone? You're not grounded.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to answer it all either.
You move 1 to the.
Of course. I moved 1 to the other side by subtracting 1 from both sides. Excellent. What do I do next? How do I graph this? What type of line is it?
It's horizontal.
Yes, at 6. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is y equals 6. Very good. Perfect. Okay, the next one. 2 minus x equals 4. Again, you don't have to put all of them on the same coordinate system. I'm just lazy. Yes?
X equals to positive. No, x equals to 4 plus 2. No. Negative x
Correct?
equal to 4
Yes?
minus 2.
Very good. And then?
X equals to negative 2.
Very good. What type of line is this? This is a vertical line indeed at negative 2, right here. This line is x equals negative 2. Very good. Find the equation of the line that passes through negative 2, 4. Any questions from me, please? And 3 comma negative 5. How do I find the equation of the line passing through these points? What do I have to find first?
Slope.
Yes. How do I find the slope?
Subtract the y from the axis.
Good. So I write the slope. I write the definition first. It's a good practice. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then I label my points, x1, y1, x2, y2. And now what should I write?
-5
Yes?
-4
Yes.
and 3 plus
Very good. Awesome. So the top is
-9
very good. Over?
5.
Good. So I have the slope. What happens next? After I determine the slope, what will be the next step?
You gotta write the slope intercept form.
Yes, but I'm not there yet because I'm not given the intercept, the y-intercept. But I will eventually. So what do I have to use now?
Do we look for the, is it y equal to y minus y1
Very good.
equal to m
Very good. Yes?
x minus x1?
Very good. Awesome. So it doesn't matter which point I use. Obviously, the slope has to be -9/5. I'm going to use the first one as -2 and 4. You cannot pick something from this point and something else from this point. So a coordinate from here and a coordinate from here. If you're picking this, then they have to be -2 and 4. If you're picking this, then you'll have -5 and 3. Not both, and not combo. So I have not, y minus 4 equals -9/5 and x plus 2. Yes, the next step is to distribute and then add 4. So -9/5 x. When I multiply -9/5 by 2/1, what do I get?
-18/5.
-18/5, and then I have to add 4. How do I add these two? What do I have to find first? Very good, which is? Very good. So this is, in other words, 4/1. Do you need to multiply the top of this fraction by anything? No. Do you need to multiply the top of this fraction by anything? Very good. So then, what will you dictate for the numerator? But -18 first. Yes, -18 plus 20. And that will give us what? That's okay. You have $20 and you give me 18. How many are you left with? 2. So then y equals -9/5 x plus 2/5. Can anyone give us now, or tell us first of all, what does this represent? What does it represent? It represents the equation of the
y
passing through
negative
the given two ordered pairs or points. Very good. Now, can anyone give us the y-intercept other than Chris and Corey? You're not grounded. Can anyone give us the y-intercept in an ordered pair format? Anyone? From this equation, is there a way of determining the y-intercept? Yes.
is it 2
Yes, but the ordered pair? Yes. Very good. This is always The y coordinate of the y-intercept.
Oh, it's 2/5 because y is 0b. Is because it's b.
Yeah, this is the b.
Okay.
And when x is 0, that's for the y-intercept. When x is 0, I determine 2/5. Very good. Okay, moving on. Determine without graphing whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or none of the above. So y equals 2x minus 4, and 2y minus x equals -7. What should I do now? I'm asked not to graph. I'm asked simply to determine whether they are parallel, perpendicular, or none of the above. So what should I do? Anyone? Say it again. I don't need to. What do we know about two parallel lines? When two lines are parallel?
That means they have no solution. No solution.
That's the system. You're right. That's the system. But just two lines, if they are parallel, what do we know about their slopes? They are the same. Awesome. What do we know about the slopes of two lines that are perpendicular? They form 4 90-degree angles. What do we know about the relationship between the two slopes of two lines that are perpendicular and they form 4 90-degree angles?
Infinite. That is the-
No, the slope of a vertical line is infinite. But we're not talking about vertical lines. We're talking about two lines that intersect in such a way that they form 4 90-degree angles. So what do we know about that? Say it again. Yes, but the question is, what is the relationship between the two slopes? So if this is a line and this is the second line, they form 1, 2, 3, 4 90-degree angles. And if this is M1, this line has slope M1 and this line has slope M2. What is the relationship between M1 and M2 if they are perpendicular? Like you told me, you said very well that if this is M1 and this is M2 and they are parallel, you said the slopes are the same. But what is the relationship between these two when they are perpendicular? Say it again. But negative. Negative multiplicative inverse. So M1 equals -1 over M2, or vice versa. M2 equals -1 over M1. I don't remember it like this because I have my preference, and you should have your own preference. I remember it like this. It's easier for me. If you cross multiply, you get that. It's the same relationship. Or if you divide my relationship by M1, you get the first one. Or by M2, you get the first one. So, okay, so then all I have to do before I decide whether these two lines are either perpendicular or parallel, I have to determine what? What do I have to find in order to identify whether they are parallel or perpendicular? What will I have to find for each line? Exactly. Very good. So can anyone tell us the slope of the first one? Can we determine the slope for the first one?
It's 2.
Very good. The slope of the first one is 2. So M1 is 2. Clear. Because this was compared to y equals mx plus b, where this is clearly the slope. Good. What should I do to the second one in order to determine the slope?
You let y stay by itself.
I solve for y. Excellent. I must solve for y, indeed. So then, what will be the first step? I'm going to copy it here one more time, or maybe on the next page better. So I have 2y minus x equals -7. What should I do to solve for y?
You subtract both sides from -7?
I'm solving for y. -7 is exactly where he or she or it is supposed to be.
Okay, so you have to move -x.
Oh, awesome. 2y equals x minus 7. Perfect. Next step. We're one step closer. Very good. What now?
You divide both sides by 2y.
Awesome. No, I cannot divide by the variable I'm solving for.
No, so 2y minus 2y.
So I'm dividing both sides by, not by y. If I solve for y, exactly. If I solve for y, I can't divide by y. And I can't divide by a variable anyway. Good. So 2y divided by 2 is?
Y.
1 divided by 2 is 1/2 x. -7 divided by 2 is -7/2. So now can anyone give us, we have m1, which is 2. Can anyone give us m2?
It's 1/2.
Good. So I'm copying m1 here so for everyone to see them together. What do we conclude about the two lines?
Yeah, not the same.
The slopes are not the same, which means what about? If the slopes are not the same, what do we understand? What do we know about the lines then? They are not parallel. So if the slopes are not the same, if they're not the same, then the lines are not what? Wake up, wake up, wake up. If the two slopes are not the same, what do we conclude about the lines? That they are not what?
If they're not the same, are they perpendicular?
We cannot conclude that. But we can conclude that since they are not the same, the lines are not, they're not parallel, right? If they're not the same, they're not parallel, correct? Good. So now I'm checking whether they are perpendicular. I know for sure they're not parallel. So what about perpendicular? Are they perpendicular? What do you think? Are they perpendicular? It's okay if you're wrong. Just talk to me. They're not perpendicular. How do I know they're not perpendicular?
Because they don't have the same slope. It's not.
The same slope means parallel.
I meant like it's not.
The negative multiplicative inverse. The product is not -1. In other words. So if the product were -1, but 1/2 times 2 is 1, not -1. See, that's why I think it's easier to think in these terms than in those terms. Just multiply them. You get 1. You don't get -1, so they're not perpendicular. I established the fact that they were not parallel. Now I established the fact that they're not perpendicular. So what do I write on my test paper? None of the above. Very good. Not parallel, not perpendicular. Very good. Moving on. Find the slope and the y-intercept of the line whose equation is 3x plus 5y equals 7. How do I do this? I'm trying to find the slope and the y-intercept. How do I do that?
Subtract x.
Subtract? I'm sorry, you said 3x?
Yeah.
Perfect. And now?
You divide 5y.
I cannot divide by the variable.
5.
Yes. So please remember, let me write it. Maybe if we write it down, this is much better. Never divide by the variable Of course, divide both sides of the equation. Of course, do you know what I mean? By the variable we solve for. Just to make sure that this is now ingrained in our brains. Okay, so we divide by 5. Awesome. So I have y equals negative 3/5 x plus 7/5. So the problem is asking us to find the slope and to find the y-intercept. Can anyone identify the slope for us? I found my test, so I'm going to try and see if I can print from here. I'm not sure what happened. So we have this page, and we had this page. So I'm missing page 3, missing page 4, I'm missing page 5, and I'm missing page 6. I'm going to try and see if I can print it out from here downstairs, and I'll run downstairs to pick it up and see if it'll allow me to print it out. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so let's continue. Can anyone believe it or not, I can. Okay. I think you will allow me to. Perfect. I can run down and bring it up. Because I don't really have to finish chapter 4 today. I'd rather review so you have all the information. Okay, please, I'm begging someone, anyone, to give me the slope. Very good. No x. I'm not saying you did say that. I'm just re-emphasizing. Good. Just the number in front of x. Perfect. And the y-intercept.
7.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct. But I want it in a ordered pair format.
0.
Very good. But that's correct. This is indeed B, which I could have not identified without solving for y. Very good. Awesome. Next. So we're finally getting to problem 5. Find the equation of the line passing through -2, -3, and perpendicular to the line whose equation is 2x minus 3y equals 6. I'm going to graph the scenario, nothing actual correct graph, because the slope may be totally different. I may graph a line with a positive slope, but actually it's a negative slope. I'm just graphing myself an idea of what's happening and what I'm asked to do. So let's say I have a line whose equation is unknown, but I have 2 pieces of information, crucial pieces of information about this line. Can anyone give it? Bless you. Give me the first piece of information that we know about this purple line, or whatever, brown.
The line.
What are those 2 pieces of information? Go ahead. Ruby, you want to say something? Go ahead, if you want.
Can you repeat it again?
Yes. So we're asked to find the equation of a line that passes through -2, -3, right? It's on, you have that. That's still there. The rest is not. And perpendicular to 2x minus 3y equals 6. So this is the line that I'm trying to find the equation for. And I know I have 2 pieces of information. What is the first piece of information that I have? That it Yes, very good. That's one piece of information. I know that it's perpendicular. In other words, it makes 4 90-degree angles. Good. Onto the line whose equation is given. Very good. And what else? What is the second piece of information I have? One piece of information will not be enough.
The line passing through.
Say it again.
The line passing through.
Yes. It passes through what?
-3.
Yes. Somewhere along the line, I have -2 comma -3. Awesome. So I put in my information in my little figure, so now I know I don't forget anything, and I know it's right there in front of me. Okay, so then what do I think of? Is this the Y-intercept?
It is.
But I thought that we discussed that the Y-intercept must have 0 as the first of the x-coordinate. So one more time, is this the Y-intercept? No. So because remember, I'm going between, in my head, I'm going between two equations. That's all we have. We have y equals mx plus b, and we have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. These two things are always in the back of my mind, and I'm looking at this, and I have to decide, can I go with this or I have to go with that? That's why I'm asking, is this the Y-intercept? No. So then which one I have to use? The top or the bottom?
The bottom.
Exactly. I cannot use this. I don't have the Y-intercept. So therefore, I will put the information I have, and I have the -2, and I have the -3, and I realize that I'm missing a piece of information. Now we're at the point of the slope. Yes, I'm ready. Whatever you wanted to say. You were way ahead of us.
Doesn't the slope have to equal negative?
Yes, m1 times m2 indeed has to equal -1. So let's say this is my m1, but how do I find the m2 that is from here?
You have to find what?
Exactly. Very good. So the given equation will be solved for y in order to determine the equation slope, the slope of the line. So 2x minus 3y equals 6. Again, what is the first step? Alyssa, are you okay?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Everyone okay? Okay, -3y equals, can anyone tell me what to do next?
6 minus 2.
Yes, it's very good what you said. However, try to keep it in descending order, because you may get confused and you may read something else as the slope. But if you keep it always in this format, a number times x plus another number, then you will not make a mistake. So that's, I'm not saying you will, I'm just saying it's safer. Okay, so then final step, we do not divide by y, but we have to divide both sides by -3. So then y equals 2 over 3x minus 2. Do not divide by simply writing a long fraction line under the terms on the right-hand side. That's not going to help. It's better and wiser to divide term by term. This divided by this is this. This divided by this is this. This divided by this is this. And now I'm able to identify M2. Can anyone dictate M2? Very good. If this is 2 over 3, how much should be the slope of the line that I'm looking for? So that the product is -1. Very good. So then M1 is indeed -3 over 2. So this is -3 over 2. So please plug it in. Allow me to run down